Hey guys, Fabulous here today and welcome back to Planet Coaster. Now, this is a build that I thought was, well, actually I never thought it was not going to take a lot of time. I mean, that's not true, it was always going to take a lot of time, but it ended up taking way more time than I would have thought. So I've had to split this into multiple parts. The only way I could get this into one part would be to speed up the video to an insane speed, so the video length was still good, or the video would be way too long. But instead, I thought we'd just go, this is part one of the Dark Ride build. I don't know what the name is. I might name it. You might see it in the title. I don't know. Or I'll just call it Dark Ride, and then I'll let you guys name it. Let's do that, actually. I'm just going to title this video Dark Ride, unless I've already picked a name in the future. But right now, if you're watching this as it comes out, comment down below your suggestion for the name of this coaster. Actually, not right now. Wait till you actually see the coaster, because I do build the coaster. Like, the whole coaster is built in this video. What isn't done is all of the theming and all of the scenery, so it gets pretty crazy. So right now, and I finally did it. I finally remembered to do it. I put down a floor before building pathways. So yes, there is a flooring in this building, so that's pretty exciting. There's a flooring, and the queues go on top of that and not on top of grass, so that's exciting. So I'm just putting in the coaster station there so I can see where everything goes, so that I can find out where I want to put the queue and how I'm all going to fit it in. So that's my queue there. Building a really basic queue room. So the idea behind this was, and I mentioned that because this was live streamed over on my Twitch page, and if you want to follow me on Twitch, the link is down below so you can catch future live streams of this kind of awesome stuff. Yeah, so I mentioned like a few times over on Twitch that the focus of this coaster is not like the entrance of the queue room, even though I do theme up and I do build the entrance and queue room a lot during this video, and you'll see it near the end where I start building it up and all that kind of stuff. The main focus of this ride is going to be, you know, the dark ride aspect. So at the beginning of the ride, it starts off slow. There's a few sharp corners. There's a few little dips and that kind of stuff, but it's really slow. So it's like we want to build up kind of a story to the ride, and then it goes on to the big lift, and that's when it starts going really fast and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to do loads of theming around the ride and lots of scenery and all that kind of stuff around the actual coaster itself. So while the queue room is not huge, like the very first coaster I built, the coaster build of Pirates of the Caribbean, the actual queue room of that was, you know, that kind of felt like part of the ride, and that's just me mucking around, having a bit of fun there with the coaster builder. Yeah, so that was all about the queue room on that ride. This one is all about the ride, and the queue room is still very themed up, as I said, but it's going to be way more so about the ride itself, and you'll see that as we start working through it. So we're starting off really basic. Here I was just testing that boosters actually don't work, because I was like 99% sure boosters didn't work, because they specifically told me, hey, boosters don't work yet. But people seem to keep suggesting using boosters even though they don't do anything in the game yet. But anyway, that was me testing it, and indeed they don't do anything yet. So I didn't use those. But yeah, so we're just going around. Basically, think of this whole coaster is going to be indoors. Every single part of it, 100% of the coaster is going to be inside. So everything you're doing now, just use your mind to imagine there's going to be walls there. There's going to be things blocking your view. There's going to be things to dodge, that kind of stuff. That's what I'm aiming for here. And that's exactly sort of what I'm starting to build up. I mean, other than right now where I'm currently not moving. There we go. Just testing it out. So I wanted this coaster to have the really small coaster car. Ideally, I would have liked to use like maybe even like a Wild Mouse style of coaster, but like a Wild Mouse coaster that could do loops and that kind of stuff. That's what I would have liked to use. But of course it doesn't exist. At the moment we have like the corkscrew coaster and then the B&M coaster. And I thought I'd use this one because it's a little bit more, it makes a little bit more sense for what I'm doing, because I did actually use a corkscrew in this. So there's that. But yeah, so think of it as kind of more of a Wild Mousey / whatever the name of the coaster was that Soar at Thorpe Park is based on. I don't know what type of coaster that is, but you know, small car based coaster. You have maybe 8 people in a car, and that is it. So it does a lot. As you can see here, I'm making it really sharp and really quite jarring at the beginning, because it's going pretty slow. You can see there is one chain lift, but then that drops it down. It's still going pretty slow. So we can do like sharp turns here and there. That's exactly what I'm working on. And it sort of just goes up, and it's gonna be jarring quite, quite slow, but we're going to have a lot of scenery in there. So I can imagine, you can see that little dip that I did just there where it goes up and drops down really quick. I can imagine putting like something right in front of that. I wish we had like a buzzsaw. I'd totally put that there. But we can do like rocks or just like a wall or something that would be like, oh my god, we're going to hit it, but then they drop out of the way. And also, yeah, again, the whole thing is this ride is going to be indoors, so you can imagine it being darker than it is. Obviously, when we actually ride this ride, when it is eventually done, we'll have to do it at nighttime, because I think during daytime you still get some light coming into buildings, even though there's no windows. So we'll do it at nighttime when it's super dark, and the only thing that's lighting it is going to be any lights that we decide to put in. So then you really wouldn't be able to see what's going on. So I think it's pretty exciting. I'm pretty excited about this build, and I will be live streaming it some more. I'm hoping I get it done. It's got to be done in the next week, really, because otherwise I'm not going to be here, because I am going away to PAX East soon, and before that I'm actually going away to another event for a game that is also in the US. So it actually means the way that it was booked, because the flights for one event were confirmed before the other one. So I fly to the US, east coast of US, which is about a 22-hour journey for me. Then I come back, and I'm back home for about 4 or 5 days, I think. Then I go back to PAX East, and then I come back home again. So I'm hoping to get this done before then. No guarantees. I apologize if it's not, but I'm going to do my darndest. I mean, there's so much work to do on this. I don't know that I can honestly get it done before then, but I think we can at least get another part done before then. So I will definitely try my darndest for that. So here we are building this is going to be like the fast section of the coaster. So we had the big drop, comes down, does a nice sweeping curve. And you can see at the top of the coaster as well, at the top of the chain lift, I did like sharp corners and a sharp drop, because I still wanted that sort of really sharp kind of, I don't know, kind of almost wild mouse kind of feel at the top of the chain lift. But then when it starts going, it goes down the hill, I'm trying to build a helix here, but I kept messing it up, and you'll see me. Because I kept making it go up too high, then I made it to go too low, and I was trying to get it to work how I wanted it to, but I couldn't seem to make it function the way I wanted. The continuum transfunctioner was not functioning properly. Here we go, yeah, I'm still going with that helix. Having pre-built helix pieces would be nice in this game, I gotta say, because, I mean, while it is totally possible, as you can see, I eventually did it, would be nice to have that exist without me having to do that. Anyway, so we come out of that, and then I think we just do a standard loop. Yeah. So the thing is, even though we had that big drop, it's actually not like when it gets to the top of the loop, and I think you'll see it. It sort of just makes the loop, and I actually really like that. I intended for it to be much faster, but you can see that it sort of really slowed down at the top of the loop. But that actually adds kind of a cool aspect, because that means we can do something up there where they're looking at it, they're upside down, so we can angle something that you're looking at that you're going real slow, so you can actually see it instead of something that you're whizzing by. So I think that will actually be a really useful little element that we have there. So we've got another sharp drop there, because the coaster's going so slow, I thought we could do a really sharp kind of drop there, and quite sharp corners as well. Just messing around with it here. So we dip down again, dip under the track, all that kind of stuff. Just trying to make it like, because it's in the dark as well. Coasters that are going to be in the dark, I don't know if you've ever been on one of them, but they don't actually go that fast. You get the sense of speed because it's really dark and you can't really see. So it feels like you're going a lot faster than you are when it's dark. So we don't need this thing to be going super, super fast either. But and it also means that we can do more scenery here and there. So that should be quite good. And I hope, if I don't finish this before I go away, I hope by the time I come back that there's more stuff in the game, because that would also be good, because then we can do more to it. Now, of course, we've got to go through the loop, right? So that's exactly what we're doing. We're actually doing a twist. I don't even know what to call this kind of twist. It's kind of a weird, it's kind of like a sloppy corkscrew. Sloppy is one of those words, right? That's not one of the words that you want to hear. A sloppy corkscrew. No, I don't know. It's just a roll. I thought, because it's also going quite slow at that point. So again, we're going through that loop area quite slow. You'll see it come around. It sort of just slowly twists over and comes around, which I thought was actually really cool. Now, I will say this now. You will not get a point of view ride of this coaster until it is done. So there will be no point of view at the end of this video, unfortunately. But that will come in the future. Now, if you do watch me live on Twitch doing this, we rode it multiple times during the Twitch, but I've cut it out of this video because I like to keep it as a surprise. Because if this is the only sort of, if this is the only videos you watch of it, you don't want to watch the live streams or you can't catch them. I want to keep the point of view as a surprise, you know, because it's going to be way better seeing it when it's done rather than seeing this thing built on grass and not anywhere near what it's supposed to be. So I thought we'd do a little corkscrew here because, again, it's actually going really slow at this point. So it sort of just tumbles over that corkscrew, which I think is actually quite cool. So we can definitely theme around that a little bit. So you can see the coaster going, just makes a loop, just goes over that sloppy corkscrew and back into the station. So it actually 100% works at this point, which is pretty cool. I'm just going around smoothing it a bit. I didn't want to smooth the coaster too much because, like I said, it's supposed to be pretty jerky and pretty, you know, pretty sharp as well. Now, I forgot to hit record on a lot of this, but to be honest, you didn't miss much. I was just placing flooring for about 20 minutes or something. So obviously this whole thing is inside. The whole thing. And people have likened this building to an IKEA building, which I don't blame them because it's got blue walls. So the idea behind this is the main building is going to look really quite like just a big warehouse is essentially what the main building is going to look like. But the front of the ride, like the entrance of the ride, that's going to be fully themed. You know, it's a theme park. They don't theme the entire backlot of a building. Like you wouldn't theme something people are never going to see. So we're going to be theming everything that you can see. So we've got also this whole facade along the front here that I didn't start theming in this part, but I will eventually. So I've just built up the walls a few levels and you can see it there. So we're going to have, obviously, I'm not going to do any roofing at all until everything else is done because if I did the roofing now, it'd get really, really in the way. Roofing is probably going to be the last thing. Because what I want to do, because I finished the queue room, I think it's almost finished. I don't know if it's 100% finished, but I did quite a lot of it. Once that's done, I want to start defining the rooms and the places and the layout of the coaster, you know, like, well, not of the coaster, but of the rooms the coaster goes through it, because we need to figure out how each room plays out, what's going to be in it. So we'll figure out that layout. Then once we've got the layout of the rooms, then we can finally start really detailing the rooms and then eventually slap the roof on. Now, judging by how long it took me to do the entrance to this coaster, which is literally the rest of this video, so it's about half of this video, doing the entire coaster is probably going to take a while. But it's also all indoors, so it's going to be a little bit different. But anyway, just playing around with a lot of different elements here, pushing them into the walls, that kind of stuff. You can see just, I don't know, just trying to figure out little textures and details that look kind of cool, just to give it a bit more depth than it otherwise would have. Because, yeah, we want the front of this coaster to look, you know, like a themed ride. We don't want this bit to be an IKEA store. The other bit can be an IKEA store around the back, but not this bit. That looks stupid. I'm putting windows on the side. I was like, what does that look like? Apparently it looks really, really stupid. Yeah, so obviously you can see this building is right behind Pyragon Alley, which if you haven't seen that build, you should definitely go check that out. Which I maybe link down below. I don't know. I'll link a playlist of all my Planet Coaster builds because that makes sense. And then this is just built. So this is next to Pyragon Alley and just behind Nagini's Revenge, the last coaster build I did, which you can also check out down below in the build playlist. So I'll put that there if you haven't seen it. If you want to see more of these builds, those two builds, we actually complete them in one video. This is the first one I haven't completed in a video, which is not saying much because I've only done 3 of these before this. So, but yeah, no, this is a much bigger build anyway. So it's kind of to be expected. I need to put more time into it to actually get it done. So so like I said, this part we're doing the queue room. So I'm enclosing the entire queue area right now so that it's separate from the rest of the coaster, and all of the queue area is going to be themed because that's what all of the guests are going to see. They're all going to see the queue room, the exit, and the coaster. So we need to theme the entire queue room and make it look like it's all part of this ride, because we don't want that just looking like the back of a movie lot where it's just the back wall of a set. We want it to be, you know, look like the ride. So that's exactly what we're doing. We're using some diagonal walls here. We're actually going to cut them in as soon as I figure out why it wasn't working. It took me a while to do that. There we go. Yeah, so we're getting some diagonal wall pieces in here, just mixing it up as well, making it look fancy, and just sort of moving it around there. Yeah, so I think it's turned out pretty good so far. I'm pretty happy with it. I have no idea how the finished product is going to look because There's so much to go, but I'm pretty excited, I think. And oh man, this is still Alpha 1 of Planet Coaster, and I'm building basically pirate themed things, right? Because that's what's in the game. We have a pirate theme. But then you have all these other creators, and they're making crazy. Someone made an Aztec temple. Someone made a Colosseum, and I think they were the same person actually. But anyway, they're making these things, and then there was like a colonial street, and there was no, not colonial. It was a Victorian street. Sorry, because we already have colonial in the game. It was like a Victorian main street, and then there was oh man, some of the things people have already built, and this is Alpha 1. Like, it can only get better. I mean, I say it can only get better. It technically could get worse. They could make things much worse somehow. But to be fair, if they did that, I feel like everyone would be like giving real negative feedback, so they would probably change it if they did something that bad that everybody hated, which is a good thing about Alpha, because we can be like, yo, what are you doing? You made a mistake, like change it back. Like, that's good. But yeah, no, the whole point, this is Alpha. I'm still amazed that this is just Alpha 1. Like, none of the stuff that people have been doing with this game, so none of the stuff the community has been doing with this game was ever shown off to the level of detail and degree before the alpha came out. Like, there was no buildings or anything this crazy before, like, just from like the team themselves. The guys at Frontier, they showed off obviously the modular buildings, but there was nothing this detailed and this crazy. And so once we all finally got our hands on it, that's kind of when everybody went like, oh wow, yeah, you can really do stuff with this game. And it is insane. I mean, I sound just like a marketing person for this game, but honestly, if you are looking for a theme park game, you should get this one. Though, to be fair, and I've said this multiple times, the alpha, to play it now, is so damn expensive. It really, like, the markup from the regular version is crazy. But also, if you're looking for, like, a game in this, then you probably should wait a little bit longer. Because, to be fair, there's not much of a game in Planet Coaster yet. It's like, place flat rides, build a coaster, build some buildings, and that's about all you can do. There's no management yet. There's no game yet. It's kind of just a theme park designer now. Obviously they are adding all that stuff in, but it's not in yet. So if you're waiting for that, then yeah, probably wait and don't buy it yet, because you'll be disappointed. But if you love building things and messing around with buildings, then hell yeah, go for it. Anyway, building the interior of the queue room now and just messing around, just having a little bit of a muck around with the walls. So I think that diagonal wall that we put in with the exit queue actually worked really well, because it added another sort of layer of complexity to the queue room. Because the queue room, to be fair, is pretty much just a big rectangle with a snaking queue through it. But with that diagonal wall and then the sort of open archways into the coaster station, I think it looks pretty good. It actually looks much better than I thought it was going to. But yeah, so we're just putting all the walls in, and then I've got to figure out how I'm gonna sort of get all the lighting in and all that kind of stuff. And you can see right here how big that coaster is and how big this building is going to be compared to the rest of the park. So it's a pretty big ride, and that's why it's taken much longer than anything else I've already done. But it's pretty crazy that I could build an entire street in one video, and this ride has taken like way longer, and it's barely done. I built the coaster, yeah. Built the queue room. That's what I've done so far. Now I've got to build the rest of the ride. So obviously, if this is a regular coaster, would have been done in this video, no problems. But dark rides, yeah, no, they are a little bit more involved. I've never built a dark ride before, because I'd always seen the sort of point of view videos people had done in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, where they built the whole ride inside, and it looked awesome. It really did. I was always really like intrigued by it, but they used a lot of custom scenery. And I never really used custom scenery in Roller Coaster Tycoon, because I'm just the kind of person that doesn't really like modding games unless it's like really easy. So, and I don't just mean easy for me, but I mean easy for you, because I like to share my saves and I like to share anything that I create. And obviously, if I end up using custom scenery or any mods, then I have to link them for the video, and if they get outdated, then it doesn't work and that kind of stuff. So that's why I don't normally use mods, and I don't really like them, because you have to manually go and update them. But with the advent of Steam Workshop, it's so much easier. That's why I use them in City Skylines, no problem, because I can create the collection, and so then I have a mod collection, an asset collection, and a Growables collection, so that everything's in there, and I can easily share the mods all with you guys, and they all stay up to date automatically. So there's really no messing around with mods at all. That's I don't mind that. But and this is the reason why I never really did in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. It's like you have to go manually download. You have to manually track them. If there's any updates, if they break, then you got to fix it. To be fair though, they wouldn't break in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, or there wouldn't be any updates because that game hasn't had an update for years. So they would probably be fine. But you know, that's my general point for most things. It's like, I don't really want to use those kind of mods. Like, it's the same reason I don't really use mods in The Sims. Like, the mods I use in The Sims are just gameplay mods that make it easier to play the game. They're nothing that changes build mode, because otherwise, I don't have any custom objects, because otherwise, like I said, I would have to manually keep the links updated. If the objects update, if they break, then everything doesn't work. And it's just easier for me to create videos and share them with you guys without the mods. And the whole point of that story was, that's the reason why I never really did Dark Rides and Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, because if you didn't use custom scenery, there was really not much you could do, to be fair. Like, there was a few, like, you could do it, but once you realize how much you could do with custom scenery in that game, it made the game's default scenery look like, you know, you're like, oh wow, this is real disappointing. Like, you yearn for more, you really want more. And that's why I never did it. But now, with this game, with Planet Coaster, the amount you can do with so little is awesome. Well, like, I mean, look, just the amount of layering of pieces and wall pieces I'm doing right now, for example. You couldn't do any of that in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. Like, this just adds so much more detail, and this is just with a pirate theme. This is just with a pirate theme. I don't even think that using custom scenery is going to be necessary in this game. It's going to be awesome. It really, really is. But we're not too far off the end now. As you can see, we're putting the roof onto the queue room. Like I said, the roof is going to be the last thing on the entire ride, but seeing as I'm pretty much done with the queue room now, going to put the roof on that, and I'm just trying to make it look pretty cool. So this is obviously designed to match in with the rest of the theme park, which is all these pirate buildings and castle-y style of buildings. Pretty much all my coasters so far have had like a little castle kind of thing attached to them, and that's totally what this has got as well. Because that's what this theme park is about, is pirate coasters, built-in castles, because that's what I can do. Yeah, so I'm just putting the roof on, and then I go inside and do a little bit of detailing on the inside as well, overlapping a few of the roof pieces there just to make it all fit. And this is pretty much just a basic start, the start of the roofing. I think it will probably change once I get the rest of the building done as well, because it's a big flat roof at the moment. I do a little bit on it, but there's not much I do yet, because I've got to do the rest of the building to see how it's all going to flow and join and connect together. So I'm just doing that bit of the building first. As you can see, I'm just getting the roof on there. And it was annoying me that they were rotated at different angles, so I just took the roof out and did it again. But there we go, getting the roof in at an angle there. Again, it's just overlapping a little bit. And yeah, so the ride comes back into that main building there. We're looking inside now. You can see this is a big empty room, but I am adding a few details in here now. By no means is it done, but the main structure of the queue room is done. Like the physical building, we've definitely got to do some more theming in there. I've decided to put in some columns just to, you know, I don't know, it just adds a little bit, you know, little columns to hold up the roof. And I think I do a few lights maybe, but that's pretty much it, guys. So thank you so much for watching. Leave a name suggestion for the coaster down below, but I will see you next time, and have an awesome day.